Hey girl, what you doing? Listening to the Be Everything and More podcast, baby. Let's fucking go. I just want to soak this in for a second, you guys.
So proud of you.
Thank you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. The Beam Life was birthed as I was going through a really hard time 5 years ago. And it started as just a podcast. Actually, Jane, I don't know where, Jane, yes. She was like, I was like, I think I'm going to call it Be Everything and More. And she's like, you recognize that actually the acronym is BEAM? I'm like, what? There's the Beam Life. So it was birthed from a really hard time. And what happened was I just kind of like started sharing my story. And I didn't do it for anyone to listen. I did it because I'm not a writer. Where's Anna? I'm like our writing queen. I'm not a writer. I am a talker. And so I was like, I need a voice outlet. So what did I do? Created the podcast. And what happened is women started texting me, DMing me, and was like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for talking about what it feels like to be trapped in a life that, to the world, like your best friends, the next door, your neighbors think everything is fine and you're actually on the inside like crumbling. And they were just so grateful. And I was like, maybe there's something more to this, right? And so I kept going. And it's sort of like anything, just builds and builds. And then like one person says yes, and then the next person says yes, and then here we all are, right? And I know that all of your dreams look different than mine because your dreams are given to you because they're for you. I'm a strong believer in that. So don't let anyone talk you out of it, because a lot of people tried to talk me out of this. They were like, I don't understand it. And I was like, that's okay. I don't know that I understand it half the days anyway. I'm just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm really supposed to create a community. I really believe in the power of women. I grew up, anyone else in here called themselves like a guy's girl growing up, like only had guy friends? Fuck that shit. I'm like, yeah, bye. Women have become such an incredible, important part of my healing journey, like healing that sister wound and being able to know you can like call someone and you don't even have to. I was just telling you, I was like, it's so awesome. I can pick up the phone and call your daughter and I don't even need a backstory. I can just start blabbing when she says hello. And those are the kind of friends that are in this room, truly. And I hope you leave here tonight with new friends, because that was my vision. People were like, what is this all about? And I was like, I don't know. It'll create itself when we're here. But the idea is all of you outside of here are either in a career, you're running a business, you're moms, you're partners, you have all these roles, and we forget, hey, I'm a person too. I've got dreams. I've got things that are important to me. And this is where those dreams and everything gets to be birthed, because no one in this room is going to tell you that you're crazy, that you should do something different. And for all you know, this could be your next bestie that you need, and you're going to create something really special together, even if it's just a really amazing friendship, because who doesn't want more friends? We're going to get this party started. I'm going to let these women personally introduce themselves, because they'll do a far better job than I will. But I want to just say one quick thing before I bring them up in here individually. None of these women were a second choice. They were all my first choice. I was like, when I'm creating a panel, this is who I want. And I'm so lucky that they all said yes. They all are so different from one another. Like, I could not have four more different women up here, but they all have a massive heart and a really, really great story to tell. So I'm going to let them pour from their heart and share with intention, because they just have amazing things to say, and I know that they are going to touch all of your hearts in one way or another. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, starting with Mrs. Nikki Frechette. Let's give a round of applause. Yes. And then next we have Miss Sam Synett. Yes, girl. Yes, queen. And then we have Miss Harley Jordan. Yes, yes. And last but never least, we've got Miss Ricki Downing. Okay, I'm just going to step out of the way. Can we just give them a round of applause? I'm literally obsessed with all of you. Y'all are so hot. I just love you guys. I would love for you to share with us a little bit about who you are. And yeah, just give us a little intro.
Is this working? Yeah. All right, there we go. I can't help but just say that it's before I even get into sharing a little bit about me and like beyond the bio, right? It's just so amazing to be sitting in your vision and to just see all the beautiful reflections of you and what you bring together and the community builder that you are. And we'll get into more of that, but this is so amazing. So I love when visions come to fruition. I'm Nikki. I am a New Mexico native. I grew up in Southern California, and I wear many hats, as many of us do. I guess I can call it my day job. I've been working in aerospace metals recycling for nearly a decade. Okay. It's taught me a lot and shaped me as a businesswoman. It gets me out and traveling the country. But I find myself, it's a male-dominated industry, so I find myself, and I'm often in steel-toed boots and a hard hat, and I'm typically the only woman in the room or, on site, and that's been pretty cool. But my passion work is working with women in women's communities. I am a transformational life coach, health coach, and this season in my journey, I am just drawn to empowering these amazing purpose-driven women to stand in their power and empower others by teaching through helping them craft impactful workshops and, bringing their knowledge, wisdom, and insights out and, tapping into their inner power so that we can all share in these amazing gifts that we all possess inside. So, and Caitlin and I connected it through a women's community, and Lauren Cheek, who happened to surprise me and be here tonight, that that's how this all works. We're all just like, connected and show up for each other. And so it was such a nice surprise to see some familiar faces walk in the room, and that's how I met Caitlin. So I love this, women supporting women community building thing.
Hello. My name is Sam Synett. My pronouns are she, her. I hail from Waco, Texas. Half of the year, the other half of the year, I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan on the Canadian border. Anyone been to the UP in here? Hell yeah. Okay. Very rarely do I get that. People are like, Michigan, Detroit. I am an entrepreneur. I own a few different service-based businesses. I'm here tonight representing my coaching and consulting firm. I primarily work with women leaders and women-owned businesses, and I help them stay connected to their dreams and continue to make money when their personal lives hit the fan. Because that has been my entire business journey. It could be summarized in expect the unexpected. The only way out is through. I feel like more importantly, though, tonight I'm here to represent a very forgotten group of women, and that is caregivers. Specifically caregivers who care for children or family members who have severe disabilities, complex needs. These are a very particular isolated group of women that society often forgets about. And I'm here to just kind of bring that group into the light and share a little bit of my story and how I've continued on in business despite some of those just challenges and also to represent grievers. I think we're all probably grieving something right now. And for me, grief has been part of my entrepreneurship journey since literally year one, day one. So yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. I would fly anywhere for you, boo. And to me, it feels truly like a full circle moment, dream come true moment to see you make your dream come true. And I think when we see other people like do the things. It gives us more bravery and courage to do our thing. And so just thank you for being that person for us.
The real question is, can I turn on the mic with these nails? Damn press-ons. Isn't it cool to be in a room of women who have been through real things? I'm listening to them introduce themselves, and I'm like, yes, thank goodness. Being in a room of people that are not only willing to talk about it, but talk about it in a real way is just so cool. So I am Harley Jordan, and my background is really in influencer marketing. I owned an influencer agency. I've worked with a lot of people that have been seen by a lot of people. I help people be seen on a really big scale. And so that has been, my work has really been to help people come through in the most authentic version of themselves, which happens to be harder than that word you would hope that would be. And I hear this a lot. I hear, oh, I already know how to be authentic. I already know how to be authentic. Well, do you know how to be authentic, or are there a lot of layers that have been piling up from society, from culture, from peers, from parents, from all of those outside influences? So that is really what my work has been over the last couple of years. And what I've really come to realize is that it's not about the tactics. It wasn't about social media. All of my work was about being confident and comfortable in who you are. And so in the last year or so, I've really made a pretty big pivot into just focusing on the mindset stuff and clearing out some of that stuckness, some of that gunk that we all have, because we live in a modern world. And, you know, this thing up here it's almost like your mind is those old Mac computers with the colorful sides? That's your mind, and you're trying to hook it up to an iPhone 17. Good luck. Good luck. No matter what you're doing, that's gonna be hard. So I can't wait to talk more about all of that.
I'm Ricki Downing. I am a personal style strategist. I used to call myself a personal stylist, and then it was personal style coach as I was navigating my journey as to what I am now today. When I first started my business, I actually did it during quarantine. I never considered myself a stylist or anything fashion. Because this is just me. And I'd always be asked to do like workshops because I work full time in corporate businesses. One was Ketchum, which was a PR firm. Now I'm with Apple. But I would just be, an administrative assistant, and they're like, hey, can you do a lunch and learn and talk about dressing for the office? And I'm like, sure, that's fun. I'll do that. I can talk about clothes all day. So when the world got shut down, I had time to think to myself and figure out, what do I really want to do? What have I really been running from? And it was just really being me and sharing how I've been me through clothes. I have used clothes as my way of getting people drawn to me because I'm a pretty shy person. I don't really I'm not a social person. So I let my clothes draw people to me because I know I have something to offer, and this is just my tool. So I'm teaching other people how to use their personal style to communicate who they are, to draw their people who will be drawn to them through their fashion, and have fun with it. I've noticed when I was working with clients, when I first started, my business was called Effortlessly Ricki, and it didn't really feel like it was right, because it was Effortlessly Ricki because it feels so simple to just be me and get up and get dressed. But it's not. It's me always reminding myself of who I am, and then that's how I get dressed. Because sometimes I get up and, like a lot of us with all of these different hats that we wear, we wake up and we try to fulfill whatever position that we're in and what people want from us. And so some of the time I have to remind myself that what people want from me is me. And so that's how I get dressed in the morning, and it's bright and it's bold and it's vibrant. And I learned that it is dopamine. It's dopamine style. So my business name is now the Dopamine Style Closet. So I am helping women to become more bold, more vibrant, and showing up as their full beamy selves.
Well, it totally worked because right when I met her, I was like, hi, who are you? Like, you're fun. Can I be your friend? I'm going to start with you, Nikki. So there's a moment in every woman's life where she decides, or at least I hope at some point you'll decide this, I am not going to shrink anymore, even if it costs me everything. I'm curious, when was that moment for you, and what did it teach you about your personal power?
Well, there's a couple of really deep mindset issues in that, right? Like shrinking, like I'm not going to shrink. I'm no longer going to shrink. And then I heard you say, at any cost, I'm going to, make this change. My significant change from shrinking to, kind of crossing over into something new it came through my rock bottom, my physical, emotional, spiritual rock bottom. And for context, I grew up believing that a man's control and possessiveness were his expressions of love because that's what was modeled for me. I grew up there was a real lack mindset present in my childhood, and that was just what it was. And so I naturally gravitated towards controlling, abusive partners. So a lot of what you shared at the top of this, introducing yourself and welcoming everybody into this conversation is why we connected. And so it's just so refreshing to see, getting over to the other side. But I didn't realize I was shrinking myself to fit into someone else's box or into someone else's expectations of what I was supposed to be, because I was just, now in retrospect, I know I was just surviving all that I knew. And so it was just really, it led to a spiritual awakening. That was that, like, I'm not, like, no more of this, but it was, the buildup to that was, without going into all of the traumatic details, it was just like, I can't take this anymore. My soul couldn't take it anymore. And I knew that I had to make a change. So taking ownership for my own crap and my own decisions that led, I had to stop playing the blame game and blaming him or my childhood, or, it was a matter of revising a belief system. And so it was painful, but it was, instead of it costing me everything, which is what it felt like to make such a significant change and file for divorce and move into something so scary, what felt so scary at the time, I now know what was costing me everything was staying in that victimhood mindset. So I think that it's a matter of revising the beliefs, but taking action. So for me, it was investing in myself through mentorship and therapy and coaching. And that's how I discovered life coaching. And then it was like catching the personal development bug. And if you will, I mean, there's probably a better term for it, but like, oh, I like this. Yeah. And you're like the living example of this works. So now I'm just in that season of now paying it forward and sharing the tools, the techniques, the tapping into inner power, because, it'll cost you everything if you just keep, if you stay in a place where you're not allowing yourself to grow. And beliefs, I mean, I started making my change at 39. So it's never too late to make a shift, make a change, and invest in yourself, and to go on in another direction to actually thrive.
I love that. And I think one of the biggest things is just like taking responsibility, right? Because I think once we take responsibility, then we can like do something about it. It's going to feel, you guys, like these questions are going like all over the place, but I promise that we have a through line here, right? You're going to hear. So I'm going to completely kind of pivot over to my little powder puff sunshine over here. And what I love so much about Harley is like, she loves, and she does this so beautifully and intentionally. She plays that like young, dumb, pretty, like, silly card, right? And you are one of the most soulful, deep, smart AF women that I've ever met, and instantly fell in love with you and was like, she's just, I know, you need to be in my world. And I love watching you pivot into doing this like seriously deep healing subconscious work, which you're wildly gifted at. So I'm just curious, like, have you ever had to feel like you had to prove how smart you really are to be taken seriously? And how did you actually stop performing for approval and start trusting yourself?
It's so funny because I was talking to my mom about this on the car ride over. She asked me what questions I was going to be asked, and I was like, I'll give you a little sneak peek. And the first thing she says was, that sounds like your whole life. All of that proving stuff. And if there is anything that triggers me so much, like makes me want to scream and stomp and like throw a toddler temper tantrum, it's feeling like I need to prove my intelligence. That drives me absolutely up a wall. Ugh.
I asked you that question.
I'm
like, let's get into it.
There is nothing worse. And I think it comes down to, let's think about what that proving looks like, because this is a twofold issue. I'm sure you've been in a situation where someone else has come up to you and they've tried to justify what they do, justify their intelligence, that I'm good enough, that I understand, that I'm the perfect person, trying to like sell themselves on you. That feels like taking a swim in jeans. That does not feel good on the receiving side, right? When someone's trying to prove themselves to you, that feels icky. So that prove yourself thing is not useful to you. When we can recognize that, oh, wait, that's actually not fun to receive, that's doing the opposite of what I want it to do, then we can kind of start to let it go. And I think the other side of this has a lot to do with cognitive dissonance, which is basically your brain making an assumption of how things are. And so if you think about how you act with your friends, you are going to be the most stupid version of yourself, right? You are going to ham it up. You are going to be overly dramatic. You're going to make the dumb joke. And when you're with someone that you want to impress, we're going to hold back. And we're going to be demure. And we're going to be proper. And what a shame that the real way to connect with someone is the stupid version. Being a little bit silly, letting it out more. And so I think that's a massive part of this, is once we can recognize that actually that's so ineffective at every single level, we can come back to our present selves and start to just be you, just be silly. Why not make the dumb joke? Why not stand up like Madison just did and twirl around the room? Why not? Why not? We all looked. We all want to talk to her now. That's how it works.
I love that so much. And honestly, there is nothing more frustrating than feeling like why is someone not taking me seriously? But also, I'm going to tell you, you're probably just talking to the wrong person. Like, bye. Hey, Gorge. Hey, brother. To say that I admire you is a massive understatement. You, like when I think about what you've been through, because we haven't known each other that long, but I just feel like our paths have known each other in many other lifetimes. And anyone else going through what you've endured would have certainly quit. And you've not only continued to build your own life, but multiple businesses, plural. Can we get a clap for that, please? Businesses. I'm just curious, like what is continuing to drive you and how do you still do it? And what are you building that grief couldn't take away from you?
Okay, when I talk about grief, I start to grieve. So I have notes. So when I started my business, it was shortly after my dad unexpectedly passed away. And this was a huge, that changes your life, period. If you've ever lost a parent, you always need your parents, right? But for my family, the dynamic changed because I had to step into my father's role. And that drove me, supporting my family, ensuring my mom's bills were paid, finishing my graduate degree. So that was like my driver. And then I get done with school and I'm working and I'm grinding. And by the way, I actually don't subscribe to anti-hustle culture because I've only gotten to where I've been because of the hustle. If I did nothing, I would have nothing. But into like the most successful part of my career, my brother became very ill. I had to step in and care for him. He didn't walk. He didn't talk. My mom's body was deteriorating. And then my brother passed away last year, about a year ago, at like the height of my career. And then a couple of weeks ago, I lost my grandmother and almost dipped out on this trip. So what has always driven me has been my family and like my oath to caring for them because of where I grew up, people don't do things like this. People don't get on planes, come to LA, speak in front of a room. They don't. And that's okay. And it just like wasn't okay with me. But I've always been driven by this pressure to be the one that did everything for my family, for my parents. And I got really far doing that. And I'm very grateful for that driving force. But once Jimmy, my brother, died, I was like, well, all of my decisions have all been around how to care for Jimmy, how to make sure he's provided for, how to get to all the care planning meetings and running from, one room to the next on Zoom calls, meetings that you would be on while he's having a seizure. And just, that drives you. Keeping someone alive drives you. So right now, what drives me is figuring it out, like knowing that there's this unknown part of my life and there's an unknown part of my purpose that I have yet to discover, and like seeing women like you, women like my friend Yvette, who is an amazing clinical psychologist and researcher at UCLA, and the one sitting next to her, Diana, who's an engineer. Just seeing women like y'all do hard things drives me to keep doing the hard thing. But I think besides figuring it out, it's like being a spokesperson for these forgotten about groups in the world and in society. And it is very hard when you've been in a house taking care of someone in the trenches. You don't have people to talk to feel any semblance of normalcy or anywhere that you belong. But I think just knowing that when those people get to come to the light and like get to share that like they're changing so many lives, like that's driving me. But I don't have a clear answer because I'm still figuring it out. And I guess for me, it's just giving permission to still figure it out at whatever age you are. Like even if you had it figured out for 10 years and then you went through a huge loss or a huge life transition, now you're like, shit, I don't know who I am anymore. That's okay. there's people that can carry you through. And so, yeah, I'm still figuring it out. But I think right now it's like to be representation, I guess. So, yeah.
Yes. Can we get a hell yes for still figuring it out? Like, that's so refreshing to know, like, you can also still be presently successful and not know where the fuck you're going. That can coexist. That can actually be a thing. All right. So I'm literally going to completely take another turn, go over here. I just realized this tone. It's like bright, and then we have neutral. And I'm like, this is so fun. I love it. It's the whole spectrum. And here I am in the middle. I'm going to transition us from neutral into color. So great. So speaking of color, I would love for you to talk about style, because being a former fashion stylist, people talk to me about or want to talk about style all the time. I'm like, I don't want to talk about style, but I want Ricki to talk about style, because that's what she eats, sleeps, breathes, and loves it so much. And oftentimes people feel like their style is their role, right? It's mom, so I'm going to put on the uniform. Or it is teacher, I'm going to put on the uniform. Or it's attorney, unless you're Madison, that doesn't count because she'll just dress like a cowgirl to be your attorney. So yeah, and attorney, I'm going to put it on. Whatever it is, nurse, I'm going to put it on. And so we lose our identity because we're wearing these costumes, in essence, right? So how can we reclaim our identity and change our brain chemistry with style? And tell us a little bit more, literally, like what dopamine style is.
First of all, oh, God, I hate uniforms.
Yeah, right?
Like, I remember my junior high, like when I started in 5th grade, we got to dress the way that we wanted to dress. And then by 6th grade, they were like, oh, we're going to implement uniforms. And I was like, what? But then I can't be me. I don't want to look like everybody else. And so I didn't wear the uniform. They would call me in, slap me on the wrist, but then I still didn't wear it. And they were like, she's going to be graduating. So they left me alone, let me do my thing. So no, I will never wear a uniform. It literally sucks the life out of me and anybody else. And I'm a mom. And so this is what mommy Ricki looks like. And and I feel like your uniform, or if you want to have a uniform, it should be you. And when it comes to dopamine, it's about dressing in a way that feels good to you. So when you put something on and you know you look the ish, that's what you walk out of the house in. Don't second guess like, oh, maybe this is too much, or pull back because maybe someone might say something. If they say something, whatever. This is you. This is what makes you feel good. This is how you're going to be able to show up in the room confidently to do whatever it is that you're set in that room to do. I know for me, I choose color because I love color psychology, and I teach it to whoever wants to hear about it. And for one, my absolute favorite color is green. Avi, right? And it became my favorite color because one of my cousins, when I was in 3rd grade, was like, you look so pretty in green. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear green all the time because I look pretty in green. And then I learned as I grew up more about the color green, that it's vibrant, that it's grounding, that it draws in money and all the good things. And when I want to feel comfortable and confident, I wear green to make me feel that way because it's a color that makes me happy. It is a color that makes me feel like myself. And it's a color that also grounds me. And so I wear green. I used to be afraid to wear red. And it was because of the whole like, oh, red is just so loud and whatever. But I stumbled across the right red. Because there's different hues of the spectrum of reds that you can go with. But I found this perfect red that radiates my skin when I put it on. And I found a whole suit in red. Red pants, red top, red blazer. And I put that thing on and I was like, I can move a crowd in this red. And so whenever I am like, I need to set some things on fire, I'm going to walk in with my red suit. And it literally, every time I wear it, it's like, oh my God, I had a woman run from the parking lot to inside the mall where I was like, I just needed to ask you about this red. Like, how do you feel so comfortable wearing so much red? And she was like, because I just think about gang violence. And I was like, that is literally far from my mind. But I was like, honey, if you want to wear red, then wear red. Like, I'm wearing it because it feels good and I like the outfit. And it obviously you like it too because you ran from the parking lot to chase me down to ask me about my red outfit. So wear the color that excites you. Wear the patterns that excite you. Wear whatever it is that when you put it on, it activates some type of spark within you. That's dopamine style.
Woo! Yes. If you want to practice with dopamine style, there's a lot of ways you can do that here tonight, right? You can get some tinsel, you can put some sparkle on your face, you can go get your color analysis. So if while she was talking, it's like, oh, wait, I want to give that a try, like, do it now. Stop waiting. Stop waiting. That is killing you, okay? We're not going to do it tomorrow. Do it now. And if you're unsure, ask somebody in this room. Does this look good on me? Do you like this? Should we do it together? So I want to encourage you, get a little freaky, get a little wild tonight, okay? Don't worry, we're not doing any P. Diddy shit tonight, all right? All right, I'm going to hand it back over because I want to have time for each of us to at least answer one more question because I know that we all want to get our butts grooving again, but I want to make sure there's so much more for you all to share. So, Nikki, I want to know, you have a grown son. He's literally like watching you rewrite your story, which is incredibly inspiring. And you're doing it in real time. You're not like, when I get to the other side, I'll show it to you. You're just being raw in the moment. And so what legacy lesson are you intentionally teaching him through all of your choices right now?
The legacy lesson, I think, is that self-love and self-respect are the keys to a successful, thriving life. If you have that as a foundation and your baseline, then everything, you can share that outwardly, but you have to have it in here first to have a healthy relationship with yourself. So I think the legacy lesson is carry that with you and then just like run face first into your fears, into your challenges, because that's the only way you're really going to grow from them. And so staying small, hiding in the shadows, not really stretching yourself is not going to get you anywhere in life. And it's okay it's okay now that I know how I've grown through all of it and I get to rewrite. I mean, what a gift that any of us get to rewrite at any point in our lives and pivot and evolve. But when your children get to see you grow and like in my case, my motherhood journey I wasn't always the healthiest version of myself. I wasn't always the best influence. And so I feel like from my view, there's nothing more valuable than being able to lead by a beautiful, healthy, empowered example. And whether you're a parent or maybe a step parent or an auntie, an uncle, whatever, maybe if it's none of those things, if you have people in your life that you get to influence, it's just the gift is being able to authentically lead by that empowered, healthy example. So the legacy lesson is, take a chance on yourself and run face first into all of the things, especially when you have challenges that feel like life is impossible, and lean into support. Mentorship changed the trajectory of my life, and I think that that's what I get to, how I get to shine as a parent and a mother, that like we don't have to try to have it all figured out and do it all ourselves, and we get to try new things with the influence of others who can help us shorten the learning curve. So I could go on, but that's what comes into the heart.
I love that. Thank you. And as you guys can clearly tell, like everyone here has so much to share, and it's like we have this condensed amount of time to be able to impart these wisdoms. So I'm just really grateful that you guys are just bringing these little nuggets of wisdom to the light, and thank you. I think that's so important, because I know there's the gamut here of moms from literally 6 weeks to all the way to, I don't know, grown in their 30s, beyond. So thank you. Miss Harley, I know you're going to love this question, but what is something you used to believe about healing or personal development that now literally makes you cringe?
I love throwing rocks at personal development. Prepare yourself. So I heard this quote the other day that basically said that the line between mental health work, mindset work, better word for it, and madness is so very thin. Like it's a tightrope that you're walking. And let me explain this a little bit more. Let's think about most realms of mental health. You will go and dissect something deep in your psyche. You're going to figure out that one thing that your mom said to you when you were 4, and you're going to create big meaning behind it. You're going to blow up that meaning. And then you're going to prescribe yourself with some kind of affliction. You're going to say, now I'm not enough. Now I'm self-sabotaging. Now I am not deserving. I think that I am. It's an ego problem, and all of these things. And if you want to take it further, we can then name that part of you and call it back every so often and dissect it even more. And it's that dissection that becomes really hard when we're trying to be present. And so I want to do a little exercise with you guys. I promise this is going to be really easy. I want you all to touch your nose. Thank you for playing along. Now touch your head. Now put your hand on your knees. Okay, now be enough. You can't, it's not an action, right? Be deserving. Go ahead. Real quick, faster. You can't. There's no action. You can't do it. So we're chasing around this idea of be enough. I need to all of a sudden be enough. And it's almost like I've sent an imaginary mouse into a field and told you to chase it. Go find that enough little mouse, that imaginary little mouse, and continue chasing it. Because guess what? Maybe I didn't send it out today. Maybe your dad sent it out today. Maybe your boss sent it out today. There's going to be ever-changing ideology around what is enough. And when we can start to recognize that maybe I can't do that because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Be enough? It doesn't exist. Now your mind starts to rewire, because every emotion that we have is here to create action. So you have fear, your body is supposed to run. That's what you are wired to do. You have hunger, eat. You have anxiety, again, anything. You're meant to do something. But that feeling around be enough, the only thing you have to do to fix that spiral, to fix that anxiety around, I'm just not it yet, is say, I can't. It doesn't exist. I can't. It doesn't exist. All of a sudden, your mind goes, whoosh, fixed.
Just like that. I love that. I love that. And I've done your RRT sessions. Yeah. Just like that. But truly, it is pretty crazy, whatever voodoo magic things you're doing to my subconscious.
You didn't even know.
I know. Just don't even look at me. I can't even. Don't even look at me. I really did say that to her one time. She made me cry, and I was like, don't look at me. I don't cry. Crying is for suckers. No, I'm just kidding. I've really tapped into those crying energies. Speaking of crying, all the crying. I love you, boo. Oh man, I have so many things I want to ask you, Sam. You know what? I'm going to ask you this because there's a lot of strong women in here who are struggling with grieving, and grieving can look like so many different things. It doesn't actually, I think that's the other thing we misunderstand is that grieving is just death. It's not. It's many, 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 many things. It can be a career. It can be a relationship. It can be, literally just changing your mind on something and you feel let down that you had to make this pivot, right? It can be a grief of what you thought could be. So for all the women who are in here struggling with grief, why do strong women specifically get overlooked when they're struggling?
Well, I think that when you've been labeled a strong woman, you're overlooked and your pain is sort of minimized because you've been designated as the go-to for most other people in your life. Anybody serving as the go-to right now? Great. We're all in it together. And we're, I will say accidentally, not intentionally ignored because we look like we're functioning just fine. When really we might be like actually falling apart fully inside, but we've gotten so good at masking because of the way that we are socialized. I also feel like when you're the strong woman, you are the one that is doing the checking in and no one's checking in on you. And I do really like seeing this like shift online at least where it's like check on your strong friends or check on check on the planner in the group. Check on the decision maker in the group. Are they good? And I've not just seen this in myself. I've also seen it in the women that I serve. Again, I work with women who are in leadership roles. I work with women who own, multiple businesses and are scaling and they're making the money. They're their provider for the family. And I've seen it in them where initially when I started in the coaching space, I was doing money mindset coaching and sales coaching, helping women make money because when we get money in the hands of women, we actually know what to do with it. Woo. Yes. So I was doing that and I realized, damn, like these women are like 6-7 figure business owners. Like they're grassroots too. They've done pretty much this all by themselves. They weren't born into money. Like no one gave them a handout, not even a grant. I mean, literally out here hustling and doing it. And then all of a sudden they would have everything that they wanted and they would completely, truly crash out. And I have a mental health background. I am a therapist. I believe in therapy. Please, if you need that and you don't know how to get that, you can come to me. But I was like, where is anyone talking about like the strong, successful, high achieving women's mental health? And why aren't any other business coaches or even schools like talking about how to preserve your sanity when you're growing something from the ground up? And so I just think we have to remember that people are easily forgotten about if we let them be. And so, yeah, if you are a strong person, you're labeled that one, do not be afraid to ask for help. I feel like everyone in this room, if you came to this event, you're probably a helper in nature. You're doing something that's serving another person and you also deserve to be cared for. And I want you to get the care that you need. And so So yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. Trust that everyone needs a little bit of help, and when you get the right help, it like sets you back on track. And healing obviously isn't linear, but yeah, I feel like the biggest thing I've learned from like the label of being a strong woman is that you feel like you have to just keep being strong, and then when you bottom out, it's really hard to crawl, from the ground up. So let people help you, reach out, ask for that support, and yeah, just don't go into the dark hidey hole. There's a lot of people that, need you to sort of show up in that, and it's okay if it doesn't look perfect. Again, I'm reading off of notes, even though I knew what I was going to say. I still have to read off notes because I need help to do this, and that's okay. So,
yes, beautiful. It reminds me, my bestie for my whole life is in the room. We've known each other literally since birth, and we have a code word where, like, because we'll just call each other casually, but I'm like, bitch, you text me the code word if you, like, really need me to answer the phone. And so I'm not going to say our code word because it's embarrassing. But literally, I know if that comes across through my text, I'm like, yes, we check, right? Because we both are the strong women. So have a code word. It really works. It's so helpful. But I love that you said that. Check on your people, and also don't be afraid to ask for help. I've had to do a lot of that. Ricki, I'm going to end it with you because I feel like you're going to just bring us home, baby. So you were saying how you are, shyer in nature, right? And I would say that most women are a little bit afraid to be seen, and you kind of shared some of that. And not because they don't want to stand out, but they're just still figuring out who they are. So someone coming to them and like wanting to talk feels like, I don't know, going into what you're saying, like, I'm not enough, I don't know. So how do you help women dress with boldness when they're still feeling uncertain or not fully confident inside?
Well, first, I get to know them. After we've had our consultation or whatnot, I say we do a style audit. And my questions aren't, what style do you like? Or, I ask questions like, I ask them who they admire, and then I ask them why they admire these people. And so, for instance, I had one, and she was like, her pastor and her mother and some other people. And I was like, okay, so what do you like? What do you admire about them? And she was saying, like, her pastor, like, great leader, and, also very cool and very relatable. And then mother was strong. And I was like, okay, so when it comes to your style, you're looking for those things that you admire in that person or things that are within you. And so now we want to dress those words. We want you to appear bold, relatable, and powerful, and show that you're family oriented, like all of those things. And so now that we know a little bit more about like what you treasure, what's in your heart, what you admire, and what I need to bring out of you, then we go to the closet. And then when we go to the closet, it's not me telling them like, oh, no, that's out of style. Get rid of that. No, that doesn't work. Get rid of that. It's more of like, so when you put this on, how does it make you feel? When you open up your closet, like, what do you think? And so the last person I worked with was actually my cousin. And when I went into her closet, it was just all over the place. And I was like, okay, so first we're going to take everything out. And then I asked her about how things made her feel. And she was like, that does not feel like me anymore. I think I want to do it, but somebody told me that it was too short. And I was like, who said it was too short? And then she was like, one of our aunts. I was like, girl, please. If you feel fine in it, if you can, she was like, yeah, but when I go like this, I was like, so when do you ever go like this? You don't, you don't. So wear the dress. Bump what they said. I was like, because honestly, I remember I heard them when I was walking down the aisle and saying that I look half naked, but I was like, whatever, you're just mad because you can't do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's more of like, just wear the thing that does feel good. Forget about what other people say. Think about how you felt when you put it on, and get rid of the stuff that you bought because you thought it was safe. And so once we get rid of all of that, we just start organizing the closet so that when you open it up, it's something that you're excited to dig into. So my closet, I remember when I was like, oh, I need more money. And one of my friends was like, why don't you sell some of your clothes? And I was like, no, no, everything I have in my closet is everything that I love and I've curated out of like passion and feeling. So I can't part with any of it. And so it's like, you should have a closet that when you open it up, you get brought back to being that little girl who put on any and everything. I don't know if you were that little girl, but I definitely was that little girl that I just put on any and everything. And it's because I remember, so when I was in like second grade, there was this redhead girl named Allison. And Allison came to school in like the most awkward outfits, but I loved them. I was like, they don't match, but they do. And I was like, I want to do that because that's how I want to be that free. And so that became me. And I mean, still to this day, my mom's like, oh yeah, you won't like that because it matches. Like, you don't like to match. And I'm like, I do match, Mom. It doesn't seem like I match, but I do. I was like, I match in concept, not in color. It's concept. I want to show up this way, and I am dressing Ricki to be this today. And I just say, go back to being that little girl. I play music when I get dressed. Like my daughter, she's got me obsessed with K-pop.
Oh, God.
I mean, we went to a concert together, and so first of all, I've created a monster with my 16-year-old. I definitely have. So her and her friends, they were like, we're gonna dress as the albums, and so she was like, Mom, you have to dress as one of the albums. And I was like, okay, I got it. Tell me what album I'm supposed to dress like. Let me see the album cover and the songs. So she showed me, and I was like, okay, I could do it. But I was too busy helping her get her stuff together that I didn't do mine. And so I was just like, they dress like me. So I'm just going to dress the way that I dress. So, hey, my outfit slayed. Everybody, as we walked down, they said they loved my outfit. My daughter hated mine because she was like, you're not dressed like the album. You don't have on any red. And I was like, my lips are red. I didn't want to buy the red fur coat because it was hot.
Yes.
So whatever. But it's just, for one, it's exciting to me to see my daughter be that passionate about like showing up and showing out. I mean, I dressed her for a tea party, and I swear when she walked out on that runway, my baby took up all the space. And I was like, that's exactly how I want my clients to feel. When you dress someone in something that you know that will make them powerful, like my daughter loves looking very girly and very like, her dress was full tutu with butterflies embroidered on the dress, like high heel platform, baby doll shoes, lace stockings, just all the little girly things. And so she was mad because she was like, why do I have to go early just to learn how to walk? I know how to walk. Why can't I walk like I walk? And I was like, Naomi, not everybody's been walking like you've been walking. And so I was like, but go out there and walk like you walk, baby. So my baby walked like Naomi walks. She's named Naomi after my favorite supermodel. So
Of course, I was going to say Naomi Campbell, baby.
Yes, she embodies it. My baby, I'm very proud. But that's what I want is when I work with other women and just teaching them, because I grew up with a mom who taught me when it came time to get dressed, she was like, you never want to blend in. You don't want to look like everybody else. You always want to stand out. And so I grew up with that in my mind. I must always stand out because I need to be seen. I'm someone who has something to give. And so that's what I do. I go back to that little girl. I play. I recommend everybody else just be that free-spirited person and play in your clothes and show up boldly and walk and take up space like my baby.
I love it. Yes. All right. Before we end, I'd love for you guys just quickly to each tell everybody like your handle or where to find you, where to follow you, all the things. So go ahead and share that with us.
Instagram's the easiest. My name, Nikki_Frechette, Frechette.
I love it.
That often.
And also all over my social. But yes, go follow, get your phones out, follow all our beautiful panelists, tag them. Frechette. Yes.
Mine are pretty straightforward. On Instagram for like the coaching side, it's that's what Sam_said. That's what Sam_said. For the grief, the therapy side, it's that's what Sam_shared.
Yours is so hard.
I've never done Instagram ever.
I know, right? She doesn't know what she's doing.
I've never posted ever. You can find me on Instagram at the Harley Jordan.
On Instagram, I am effortlessly Ricki_stylin'. And then on TikTok, which is where I'm living these days, is effortlessly Ricki, Ricki.
Can we just give these amazing women a round of applause? Yes, queens. All right, y'all stay. Y'all stay up here. Real quick, this was officially the first episode of my new podcast, Be Everything and More. You know, again, as we've learned, permission to pivot. This is the third time I've renamed my podcast because it's my podcast. I get to name it what I want. So maybe I'm going to change it again one day. But for now, it's Be Everything and More. And I think that's the final one we're going to stick with, you know? It kind of just has a little something to it. DJ?